Fellas, this week is UFC Denver. We finally have another UFC event after a week off, and to be honest, this fight night isn't actually that bad. I'm going to be predicting every single fight on the main card, but even the prelims have some pretty good fights in them as well. I mean, Cody Brundage versus Al Hassan is a good fight. We've got Montel Jackson. Finally, Joshua Vance finally been able to get a fight scheduled, but I don't want to, I don't want to jinx it or anything because the last fight that he had ended up getting cut at the weigh-in, so hopefully this fight actually goes through and we get to see Joshua Fan back. But no, it's not that bad of a card. It's a pretty average fight night, so we're going to be predicting every fight on the main card at UFC Denver. And we'll start off with Julian Rosa versus Christian Rodriguez. Now, Christian Rodriguez's career has kind of been all over the place in these past few fights. I mean, obviously, he got the good wins over Raul Rosas Jr. and Cameron Simon. And I kind of saw Christian Rodriguez as this prospect killer, but with that being said, he missed weight twice at 135 when he fought Simon and Raul Rosas Jr. So obviously that, led him to moving up at 145. And in his last fight against Bulgarian at 145, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he won that fight. I think he didn't look as good at 145 as we normally see him at 135, but he has to move up to 145 because obviously the dude can't make weight. So we're going to see how he does against Julian Rosa. Now, Julian Rosa, this dude is so chinny. He's one of these dudes, he takes a mild shot to the jaw and he's getting slipped. He's a very chinny guy, so I think Julian Rosa is going to come in with the game plan of trying to take Christian Rodriguez down, and I just don't think it's going to happen. Christian Rodriguez is really well-rounded, like I said, as we've seen in that Raul Rosas Jr. fight and the Cameron Simon fight. He's super well-rounded, is Christian Rodriguez. He's got really good boxing, and his grappling's really underrated as well. So I think he's going to do enough to keep it on the feet, and I think Christian Rodriguez is going to piece up Julian Rosa on the feet. But we're also going to see how, like I said before, Rodriguez does at 145, because he didn't look amazing in his last fight at 145. So maybe he's adjusted to the weight class now. Maybe he's prepared. But I'm going with Christian Rodriguez to win this one by decision. I think he's way too well-rounded, and I don't think Julian Rosa is going to really want to engage on the feet, considering his past, how he's done when he takes a big shot on the chin and then ends up getting slept. So I'm going Christian Rodriguez to win this one by decision. And yeah, we'll see if he can keep up the streak at 145, because like I said, so far he hasn't looked great. Then we got Gabriel Bonfiglio versus Angel Luca. Now, Gabriel Bonfiglio, obviously, he lost to Nicholas Dalby, and I know a lot of people are saying that they're not, it was a bad loss, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's much shame to losing to Nicholas Dalby. Nicholas Dalby's a tough guy. I mean, the dude just about lost to Rinat, who's one of the best prospects in the welterweight division right now, so I don't think losing to Nicholas Dalby was that bad. I think it gave him the reality check he needed for Bonfiglio, because he's still a really good prospect. Angel Luca, though, this dude is absolutely hated by the MMA community after his last fight. He fought Brian Battle in his last fight. He was losing the fight, and then obviously ended in a no contest, and then he tried fighting him after the fight, and after that fight, yeah, just a lot of people, lots of respect for Angel Luca, and I don't think he's going to win this fight either. I'm going Gabriel Bonfiglio to KO Angel Luca in that second round. I feel like this is just a fight to push Bonfiglio back after his loss to Nicholas Dalby, and I don't think that is a bad loss, like I said. Bonfiglio's just better everywhere than Angel Luca. I really do think he's better everywhere. I mean, he's got really, really good boxing. I feel like he doesn't really trust his striking. I think we need to see Gabriel Bonfiglio trust his striking a little bit more, because he does have really, really good boxing. But most importantly, obviously, his offensive grappling has looked amazing. In the fights that he's had in the UFC, his offensive grappling has been amazing. And I also think Luce is also a really good grappler, so we're going to see how they match up when it comes to grappling. But I think in that second round, we're going to see Bonfiglio keep it on the feet, and I think he's going to fake a takedown, land a shot upstairs, and KO Angel Luca. Because like I said, even in his last fight against Brian Battle, Angel Luca didn't look great. He was getting pieced up. And now that I think he's in with the Shark in Gabriel Bonfiglio, I just think he's got too many ways to win. He could even use his grappling to win, but the fact that he's also got the boxing advantage, I'm going Bonfiglio to win this one, and I'm going to say he gets it done by second round KO. Then we have Drew Dober versus Gene Silva. Gene Silva, I mean, this is really a really quick turnaround for Gene Silva. And when I say quick turnaround, I mean this dude literally fought on the last UFC event, and he's back already against Drew Dober. This is an interesting fight, and it's a massive opportunity as well for Gene Silva, because, like I said, it's a quick comeback. He's got momentum, and if he can beat Drew Dober, man, he's probably going to get a ranked fight from there, because Drew Dober, I kind of see him as the perfect ticket to getting a ranked opponent. You beat Drew Dober, here's a ranked opponent. So it's a big opportunity for Gene Silva. He was a prospect coming into his last fight with Charles Jourdain. He KO'd him at UFC 303, and now he's in there with Drew Dober. A big opportunity. Now, the thing about Gene Silva as well is I like how he mixes it up with his wrestling. He's got really good offensive wrestling, but he also has a ton of KO power, as he's shown in the UFC and specifically in his last fight. But Drew Dober's also dangerous, man. This dude is super dangerous. He's got really good striking. He's also super powerful. And obviously, he's also got some good wins as well. Bobby Green, a win that has aged really well, considering now that Bobby Green's one of the well, I won't, definitely not one of the best lightweights, but he's a ranked lightweight at that. So, yeah, Drew Dober, I think, I'm probably going to have to go with Drew Dober to win this one. I think it's way too short notice for Gene Silva. I think the fact that he's going to be cutting weight twice as well is definitely going to take a toll. Whereas I feel like Drew Dober's more of the fresh fighter coming in. He was supposed to be on this card regardless. So I'm going to go Drew Dober, and I'm going to go by KO as well. I feel like this is going to be one of those fights that is an absolute banger. They're both walking forward, throwing shots, but I just see Drew Dober landing the big shot. I think if this fight was to end, it's going to end in a KO. There's going to be a lot of cracking of the chin, but I'm going to go with Drew Dober to KO Gene Silva, just because I feel like I said, it's a too quick of a turnaround for Gene Silva, and it's a big step up as well to go from Charles Jourdain, who hadn't looked the most consistent, all the way to Drew Dober, who's one of the best unranked lightweights in the UFC right now. It's a big step up, so I'm going to go with Drew Dober to KO Gene Silva, but if Gene Silva can get this one done, this guy's going to have a lot of momentum, and he's going to have a big opportunity from there after if he does beat Drew Dober. So I'm going to go Drew Dober by KO, but I'm actually quite intrigued because it's not like a lock. I'm really intrigued to see how this fight goes. And then we've got the core main event. The return of Santiago Ponzinibbio against Muslim Salikov. Now, obviously, Ponzinibbio, this dude's been out for a while, man. Obviously, got KO'd face first to the canvas by Kevin Holland. Jorge Masvidal has fought in the UFC more recently than Ponzinibbio. That's all you need to know. But no, I think this should be a fairly fun fight on the feet. Two, strikers. We've got Ponzinibbio, as we know, a really good boxer, really good striker, and then Salikov coming from that kung fu background. I just feel like Salikov's too washed, man. The dude is 40 years old. He's probably one of the oldest Russians in the UFC right now. And it's not even just his age that's making me think he's washed. It's also his performances. He just seems to be getting worse every fight. He's losing more consistently. He doesn't look as quick. He doesn't look as sharp. He seems to be second-guessing himself too often. And I feel like this is the send-off for Muslim Salikov. We're getting Ponzinibbio back as well. And even though Ponzinibbio has lost 3 out of his last 5, he had a really close fight with Michel Pereira, which obviously has aged really well. And he did get KO'd by Kevin Holland, but he's been out for a while. I'm pretty sure he's going to be... Well, he's been grafting. I'm pretty sure he's coming back, trying to get the win, and I'm going with Santiago Ponzinibbio to win this one by decision. I think it's just going to be a really technical striking match in UFC Denver between the two of them. I think it's going to be Ponzinibbio doing enough to just basically piece up Salikov, because like I said, Salikov just don't seem like he has it anymore. I think Santiago Ponzinibbio is going to piece up Muslim Salikov, and I'm going with Santiago Ponzinibbio to win this one by decision. But who knows, maybe him being out for so long has kind of costed him. Maybe he looks even worse, in which obviously both of them are equally as washed. But no, I think the lock in this fight is to go with Santiago Ponzinibbio. He is the more trustworthy guy to go with based on the performance that they've had recently. And then the main event, Rosa Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. Obviously, this is a short notice fight, but I believe Tracy Cortez was supposed to be on this card regardless, so I don't think that you can really look into that too much. Tracy Cortez, this is another massive opportunity for Tracy Cortez because she's ranked number 11. I mean, if she can beat a former champion in Rosa Namajunas on short notice, that is a massive opportunity for Tracy Cortez, and she might even be in title contention with the win over Rosa. I mean, she'll definitely be in title contention if she's able to beat Rosa Namajunas. And Tracy Cortez has some decent wins, man. I mean, she's undefeated in the UFC, and a lot of people forget she's actually beaten Erin Blankfield as well. Obviously, this was outside of the UFC, and I know she's in a completely different spot now, but she has got a win over Erin Blankfield, which has aged really well. The problem is, I'm not expecting big things from this fight. I mean, Rosa Namajunas holds the crown for the most boring fight in the UFC, and Tracy Cortez hasn't had a single finish in the UFC, so I'm not expecting this to be an absolute banger. But I'm going to go with Rosa Namajunas to win this one. I just think it's too big of a step up for Tracy Cortez too soon. Like I said, she hasn't been able to finish anyone in the UFC. She's had a few close fights, and now she's coming in there with an experienced former champion in Rosa Namajunas, who's coming off a win as well against Ribas. At first, after she lost to Fiora, I was like, maybe Rosa Namajunas ain't built for this weight class, but she's beaten Ribas. It wasn't that bad of a performance. I'm going to go Rosa Namajunas by decision. I'm not expecting it to be a super high output fight. I'm not expecting it to be a banger, but I think Rosa Namajunas' experience is going to take a big factor into this fight. So I'm going to go with Rosa Namajunas to piece up Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez, she seems to be a decent prospect, but she's not done anything so far that impresses me to the point where I'd pick her over Rosa Namajunas. So I'm going to go with Rosa Namajunas to beat Tracy Cortez, but that is my main card predictions for this UFC Denver card. Not that bad for a fight night. We've definitely had worse. I mean, the fight night recently we had with Tyra and Perez was one of the worst fight nights we've had this year, so it's actually a pretty decent fight night, and it's not in front of the Apex, which we can't complain about, but that is my main card picks. Let me know who you're picking throughout the card, and if you agree with the predictions. Thank you for watching.